Let me create a new class file. So let me take you to one particular okay, so I'm just trying to because I was working with some few these things. So let me take this first one. All these colors I was getting it. Because I'm just working on other projects, so that's the reason it was showing with the other. So now let me keep this one as so now methods explanation. Okay. So I have been added the main method also. So now I have been kept it here. Okay. So now here, now can I create a method here inside this method inside a method?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
See, always you need to remember one thing. Whenever you want, this is the first mistake which I have done. Can we create a method inside a method? No, we can call a method from another method, but not create a method inside a method. Now, when I wanted to write this one, so can I write the P as capital and then do it? Public. Can I do this?
No, sir. P is master.
So always this should be the case. It means what I'm trying to show you to you, what are the basic mistakes we will try to do it. Okay. So now what I have did is, so when I have written the public, okay, public, now control space bar. So this will help me to create a method, quick methods. Okay. Now let me, can I create the same method names? With the same method names, can I create it?
No, sir.
No,
We don't create new
No,
names.
sir.
So
Yes,
when you have
sir.
been created this one, we will be getting this particular no. So now here the parameterization, you know, there is a concept of method overloading, but
Okay,
here
sir.
the same name with the same parameters, you can't do that. So same parameter types or anything. So here it's a non-parameter. So I'm sorry for the disturbance. So I don't know, some voices coming behind this. Okay, so now here we will be having the same name. So now here it is same name. So then it will be throwing the duplicate methods. It will not even allow you to create this. Allow you to create that also. Now let me change the method names. Add and this I'll keep this one as subtract. Okay, so now it allow me to create this one. Okay, now I'll be just trying to write SYSO. So I'll just go on mute for a minute and then I'm typing it so you can see on this. Okay, fine, cool, went away. So now here I'll be saying that I am in addition. Okay, so same thing I'll try to do for this one. I'm in subtraction. Okay, now I created the method. Okay, this is method one. Okay, so this is method one. So now, okay, so method one, and this is method two, and this is by default method is available, right? So now this is two, and this is the default method, three. Got it? So always you remember, main method is also a method. So always we'll be calling it as a method. Now, first of all, you need to understand the signature of the method. So I think you have been seeing in the sessions. So what is this? What is this?
non-static
Access.
access
Access specifier.
Public is the access specifier. Can I define a method without giving the access specifier?
No.
No.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How I have defined now? So if you don't define anything, it will take it as a default. So explicitly you should mention. So now it is not telling me the error. So now what I need to do? So now this is a public. I'll be writing it as a public. Or if I'm not giving anything, it will take it in a default way. So these are the quite simple mistakes which we'll do. So the first, always you remember, I can call this method inside a method, but not create a method in a method. And this method life starts from this braces to this braces. This flower braces to this flower braces is the life of this, the scope of this particular method. And the main method scope is this. Now I created this methods. How I wanted to execute these methods? I need to call this particular method in the main method. As I told you, if you wanted to execute anything, so that need to be called from the main method. So now can I call this one so that it can be executed?
Yes, sir. Using by creating object because it is a non-static method.
Okay, so let's leave that particular topic of static versus non-static, because if we go into that one, so once again it might confuse. So let me first cover the concept of methods, then I'll go for this one. Now calling of non-static methods into the main method, you will not talk now. So if I wanted to call these particular methods inside and then we'll talk when execute it, we wanted to do that. So always you remember that. So after means if you don't define anything on your method, so then this particular method is a non-static method. So now, okay. So now let me, means I have been defined it, right? So now, can I call this one directly into here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this can be called
Yes, sir.
directly. So now when I have been executed this one, so you can see that output. There is a small mistake there, so you don't need to worry about it. So that's, I made that one. So that's the reason. What would be the issue? Don't worry, what I did. So those things, it will be slightly confusing to understand for you. I'm not explaining what I have did, but I just wanted to show you the output. So now, when I have been executed on this one, so when I have been executed on this one, so now when I just call, means I created this particular method and then I'll be accessing here. Means what you mean to understand is, it's a set of instructions, a set of means the set of instructions to perform a certain action. So that which we will be calling it from the means we will be defining here, and it can be called for multiple times. So now I can call the same add for multiple times here and execute this. So now you can see that particular output here. Okay, so this is how we will be executing all these particular things. Now, can I call the same sub? So it might not be possible because this is a non-static. Anyways, the differences between the static and non-static we'll understand. So first of all, it will be defined with the accessibility, means how this particular method can be accessed and whether it's a static or non-static. And this is the third one, which is a written or non-written. So now as this is public and then this is static. So always you need to remember one thing. So if I wanted to call this one, so sub. So can I call it? Okay, using the shortcut keys, that's the reason. Why it is throwing error, as this is a non-static. So you need to understand one thing. So you can see it cannot make the static reference to the non-static method. All this you need to remember, main method is a static method. So that now if you wanted to call directly, so only the static methods only it can be called directly. Non-static methods we can't do it. So that's the reason we'll be creating an object. So what is an object and how to create an object? Those topics we'll discuss in the next part of it. But as of now, just you understand that. So let's play with only with the static. Now, if I call this particular sub, you can call it over here, and you can call this sub for multiple times. Is there any restriction that in calling of these particular methods for multiple times? No, you can call this one for your n number of times wherever you want it. You can call this one. So now you have been given it. So now when you have been executed this one, you can see this particular execution values. Got it? So this is how. So this a simple method can be defined. So always you need to remember the method name should start with a small letter. Always remember method name should start with a small letter, and it should be a meaningful name. And so now this is the first category because there are different type of methods out there. So now when we see it, so this is called a simple method. Simple method. So in this simple method, what you need to understand here is the step number one. What is the syntax of this one? So the syntax of this one is you need to specify the access specifier, whether this is a static method, non-static method, whether this is returning something or not. So anyways, this written, we will be talking about the third thing, so that we will be no need to worry about it. And the method name always it should be having with a small letter, and then it should be having this open close braces on this one. So then this is method signature of this one starts with the flower braces and means open and closed flower braces. Now this is what here. Now can I define a method without the body? So now this is the body, right? So now can I define this particular method without body?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now can I call this one?
Yes, sir.
Now what it will be printing?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing.
See, now we are just we created and we are calling it. It will create nothing. So now if you see here, so nothing would be having three subtractions. After that, it is nothing. So this is called an abstract method. If you don't have any particular implementations, so this is an abstract methods. So anyways, we will be knowing about this one in the later part of the sessions. So, but still, you need to understand that the basic syntax lies with the access specifier, whether it's a static or non-static method, and whether it is a returning and method name and opening closing braces of flower braces, and the steps or the body of that particular method, or this is called implementation. So now this is method declaration, method implementation. We need to do it. So now can I do it in this way? Obviously, so we can't do that. So now when you wanted to define this one, so we need to change this one to the abstract. Okay, there are different classes also. When we talk about that particular classes, those things we'll discuss. I don't want to go to those things now. Let me only do this particular things. So now what are the things which we have been discussed is, so now when we're calling a particular method, the static method, so now that need to be called in the main method only to execute this. Now if I wanted to execute these all things in the main method, but I don't want to call them. So now if I wanted to execute all of them, then how I can do that? See, now I'm only getting this and in addition. Now I wanted to get this subtraction, and even I wanted to get this one for the multiplication also. How I need to do it?
Inside add method we can call.
That's it. So now what I can do, so here I know that that's a sequence of calling. So then what I'll try to do is I'll do sub. See, always you remember that S, if you have been given it, SUB means it starts with, right? So now control space bar. See, now this habituated. So by default it will come from. So now that is how you need to get it. As soon as I click this control M, so now I don't need to type the complete method name, because the method names will be very bigger. So as of now it is sub add, but if you have a bigger names, so control space bar, if you click on this one, you'll be getting on this. Just you can select that one. So then the method will be selected. Now multiply. So this is how I'll be calling those particular methods. So now once I call this one, so now I'll be calling add only, but when I'm executing it, so now what it will be doing, it will go inside and it will be calling it. Now let me debug on this one. So I kept the debugging pointer. Okay, so now let me go for the debugging. So yes, I wanted to go to the debugger perspective. So now here you can see it. So here I'm going it. I'm going to give the F6. I don't want it to get into the method inside. Now I click F6. Now you see it. It printed me. Now I'm into this sub. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to go inside that particular method. Now I'm giving F5. As soon as I given it, see it went to that particular method. It started executing this one. So now I click F6. It printed for me. Now I'm clicking F6. Now once again I come to this mul. So now I wanted to get inside this one, then I'll go for F5. If I'm getting to print directly, I'll click F5. So F6. So now I just click F5. I went inside and then F6, F6. So now it printed to me. So now this is a quicker explanation for the debugging also. So now when I wanted to debug on this one, so it executed all and it went up. So now it goes to this particular method. From this method, it internally calls those particular methods and then it will be printed back. So this is how the execution will happen for us. Okay, so this is a pretty simple implementation. So that means already you have been gone through the previous video, so that it will be very much easier. So just to give a refresh and what the things it goes wrong, it may go wrong. So those are the things which I wanted to explain here. Okay, so that is what I try to explain on this particular topics. So any questions? So now what we have been discussed is syntax of a method and a simple method and how it can be called and it can be executed. So these are the things which we have been discussed for today on this. Any pointers on it? So what we wanted to discuss further on this particular things is we wanted to discuss about means anyways the parameterized means what is a parameterized method and how the methods can be parameterized with the different data types. What are the ways it can go wrong? So those are things will be discussed, and then written methods, parameterized methods, written methods. So these two things will be discussed for tomorrow's session. But now what is your job is, so now you need to get more familiarized with these particular topics. So now what I wanted to do for this one is so here, I just wanted you people to take you through method overloading. Anyways, I think by this time you have been implemented this particular method overloading also. You need to explain me what is this particular method overloading. And okay, so I wanted to understand from the class and the object. So what is an object and how to create an object? See, entire system, if you are able to understand one simple this line, this if you are able to understand this one simple line, what is an object, how we create an object, and what are the components in an object, half of the oops you can understand, half of the oops you can easily understand. But if you don't understand this one, nothing you can do it. I'm telling you that in Selenium or any particular tools, I'll ask them only to explain me this particular statement. If they explain this statement, they can work on any particular things. But many of the people will not able to explain a simple statement on this. So be clear. So actually there are a lot of videos available in the market. I think you can just refer that. And for this one, so Naveen Reddy is the best I learned from those particular set of videos a lot. So you can see it, what is an object, because that's how 10 to 15 years old back videos will be there. But still, that makes a lot of informative. So it means it's a short videos you'll be having it. You can see those particular videos. But what is it means? What is an means object creation, and what are the each statements lies over here? So that is the thing which you need to prepare and then implement and come for tomorrow. Okay, so means object creations and so overloading concepts and about the constructor. So because when you are trying to create an object, you will be coming around this particular constructors also. So understand object and constructor well for tomorrow sessions. I'll be asking you from this particular concept of object and then constructor for tomorrow. Okay, so fine. So any other questions from today's session? So today we purely discussed from a simple method and what are the mistakes we probably do in the simple methods. So tomorrow I'll continue from the point of the questions from the object and constructors, and then I'll continue on the method of parameterization and then written methods. This is for tomorrow. Any questions?